regulatory burdens, and that it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Hillier moves that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Establish Political Oversight over Legislation and Regulations to Reduce Red Tape and Unjustified Regulatory Burdens, and it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House the motion carried? Carried.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Establish Political Oversight over Legislation and Regulations to Reduce Red Tape and Unjustified Regulatory Burdens. First reading of the bill, Premier Lecture, projet de loi.
The member for a short statement.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this bill establishes a standing committee of the Legislative Assembly to be known as the Standing Committee on Red Tape and Regulatory Review. Every public bill must be referred to the committee for review or include a provision stating that it applies despite the requirement for review. The review deals with whether the bill imposes a regulatory burden on persons or bodies other than the public sector, whether the bill infringes on the freedom of those persons or bodies to own and use property, and whether the regulatory burden constitutes an unjustified burden and red tape, and whether the person or body that administers the bill is best suited to do so. The committee may amend the bill before reporting it back to the Assembly. No person or body, including the Lieutenant Governor and Council, is allowed to make a regulation under an Act without giving the committee at least 60 days' notice to review the regulation and to propose amendments to it, except if the person or body gives notice to the committee that the urgency of the situation requires the making of an emergency regulation. An emergency regulation can remain in force for no longer than 90 days. The committee can also review acts after they have been enacted and regulations after they have been made and make a report to the Assembly. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Production of bills. The Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled